Hi Cal Poly, my name is Max Guzzetta and I'm a 5th year student in David Watts' class at LSU. I just got off of an 8-month internship with Michael Van Valkenburg Associates in Brooklyn. Gentrification in Brooklyn ultimately inspired me to my capstone project, which was in Detroit, undergoing similar characteristics. So without further ado, I will introduce you to my project. So, like I mentioned, this is the Packard Automotive plant, and most of the problems that are occurring here are occurring all over Detroit. So, to give you a brief background of the plant, the Packard plant used to be the largest automotive plant in the country, and certainly in Detroit. In its heyday, about 60 years ago, it was a titan of industry in Detroit, bringing in lots of jobs, and this community, surrounding community, was a thriving community, and no longer. You can see today that most of the residents and homes have been abandoned, lots of vacant lots, there aren't schools, public facilities, and the Packard site and the surrounding community have fallen into complete decay. So the question now becomes, well, what do we do about this and how can we solve it? So one of the fundamental approaches that I'll be taking for this project is adopting the Garden City concept, which was developed by Ebenezer Howard. Now the concept is that when you build a city, the center city, such as Detroit, after a certain period of time, that city becomes too dense and you have to move away. So they develop railroads, highways, roads, and they build a new city. And now the new city, the Garden City, is developed under landscape principles and not developed under industrial principles or under retail and urban development principles. And the concept is you design and build a garden city and then you move on. So what are the founding principles of a garden city, right? In order for this garden city to thrive, it has to have a strong economic background, it has to have strong environmental ties, and it has to have equity. So basically, the community needs to be working together to achieve economic goals and to be sustaining the environment as well. And when all those are treated equally and respectfully, then now we have a sustainable community. And so the question is, there has to be some industry to develop an economy, so what's that new industry going to be? It's going to be in produce. So now we move to, well, we want to have a denser city and we want to have a greener city and we want to have industry in the city. So we have to move, in my opinion, we have to move to urban agriculture. And so we want to have density and structure in urban agriculture and we want to give jobs and opportunities, but we also want to have density in urban land, which is kind of a unique character. You know, it's hard to have both of these. And so that's what I'm investigating in my project. So in order to fix the area, we have to bring the economy back, we have to bring industry back, but we have to most importantly bring people back. So this is again looking at the site. Here we have Packard and the condition that we have, mostly suburban and suburban on this side with the cemetery and railway over here. And so now we're moving into the concept. So the concept of a garden city is to have a central park and then to expand out. So in this concept, we're looking at making the garden city very dense in the center with retail and mixed use, and then spreading out and having our agricultural land around the foundation of that, which could be effective. The second principle that we're looking at here is quite the opposite. We're looking at developing this co-op agricultural land and suburban land towards the center and focusing on still a central park, but agriculture has a much more centralized focus. And now we move to the third principle where we're investigating both characters and trying to mix them together. We have a spine here that's heavy retail park and industry with an agricultural spine, and then investigating the condition that goes around that. So basically what you've just seen is all three of my conceptual designs, which will ultimately lead to my schematic solutions. The schematic solutions will basically be challenging the exact same concept and trying to figure out, what the best proportions are between agriculture, dense living, and retaining suburban life. So moving forward, I'll be focusing on how to arrange those elements into a cohesive unit and make it overall a complete garden city that can better Detroit.